Hello and welcome to 9.9. This is the endangered species section, and there's only a few things you need to know here. This will be a quick one. And obviously, you want to know how a species may become endangered and strategies to combat that problem. That is a definite FRQ style question. And we're going to talk about many reasons why something may be threatened or extinct. And it's as simple as obviously being overhunted or being a specialist and their food that they eat seems to be or get wiped out, or our friends, the invasive species. And not all species will be in danger of extinction if they are exposed to the same conditions. So things like your generalists are less likely to face extinction. There are some selective pressures that would be specific things that will change in the environment, and the organism is no longer fit for that environment. And there will be competition, of course, and there could be extinction due to that. And then we're looking on ways to protect these animals and criminalizing poaching, aka a penalty by jail time or fine, and then protecting where the habitats live and laws. This is screaming FRQ question. So there are many ways that something can become endangered. Poaching is a major, crime, and it is where people will go and they'll take things like elephants, they'll kill them, and they'll just take the tusks. So the whole animal is gone, and the adults are gone, and they can't make more, and poaching is all about the money now. And again, they may be overharvested for food or for the parts that the poachers are after, like tusks, or they may be removed from the wild and sold as pets. That's sort of kind of what happened in Finding Nemo when he went to the reef and took Nemo. And let's see, they may have special food habitats and needs, things like koala bears, and they have a very small niche. They're specialists. And in the event that their food gets destroyed in some way, shape, or form, they themselves will also die. And they are very intolerant to changes, urbanization, things like that. Invasive species, which we talked a lot about already, they're going to come in and they're going to outcompete the native species for food, resources, space, things like that, brought in by people. Zebra mussels are a biggie we have here in America, in our rivers up in the Great Lakes and the Finger Lakes. These are very, very, very invasive. And of course, climate change. We talk about that as the temperature changes. That messes up migration patterns. That could mess up where things left from, where they're going, mating. The entire habitat could be destroyed because sea level has risen so much. Lots of reasons why species will become endangered and or eventually extinct. And messes up temperature and precipitation can definitely screw up where organisms live and how they live there. So there are things you can do. Poaching prevention. There are different agencies that send out people to prevent poaching. You can protect the habitats, and of course laws. Those are ways we can do it, and we'll see them all coming up in a second. First order of business is poaching prevention. You can hire armed guards and or a special police force, and there has to be severe laws and punishment. In the world of protecting the habitat, designated areas, national parks, wildlife preserves, animal sanctuaries, things like that. And there can be no hunting. Can't build houses in there, a golf course, none of that. Need no deforestation, no taking trees to make furniture. And fragmentation is the breaking up of these larger land masses with things like roads and pipelines and things. And that could severely mess up mating. And you want to allow the species to breed and reestablish their population size. That's what you need to do in order to get an organism off the endangered species list. And of course, laws. And these are the things that may pop up in FRQ questions. So the CITES, it's an international agreement for countries to set up agencies to monitor the import and export of endangered species. So you just can't go to the jungle and steal Siberian tiger and bring it to your house because you want a cool tiger. It doesn't work that way. And of course, the Endangered Species Act is the U.S. law giving the U.S. FWS is United States Fishing and Wildlife Service, giving them the power to designate a species as endangered or threatened. And it kind of allows them to make the decision. This is a list that you're not going to need, but you can see here how it goes from extinct, gone, no more. Extinct in the wild means that they'll still be in zoos. So it's not that there's no more, there's just no more in the wild. And then you just move yourself up to things that are not threatened or no concern. So the IUCN Red List. And these are abundant. They're all over the place, not threatened, near threatened. They're on their way. They're getting close. High risk of extinction in the middle. They're threatened, which we just talked about. And different things have different extinction rates. So amphibians, not good. 41% are on the endangered list. Not good. They're very susceptible to change because they will lay their eggs in water, and many different aspects of water, drought, flooding, that could all mess up their mating ability. 25% of the mammals, 13% of the birds, warm water coral, 33%. And then again, threatened by ocean temperatures, pH levels, CO2 levels, things like that. And trees, conifers, 34%. And disease, warming temperature, and which we talked about, the insects range that they live in is expanding because of warmer temperatures, and they can now get to these trees and kill them. And conifers are important because they sequester 3 times as much CO2 as a temperate forest. The reason why, they do not lose their leaves or their little pine needles. And there's a huge portion of this coniferous forest, the taiga, that wraps around 60 degrees north around the whole world. So it's a large forest. And when you got things like specialists, pandas, which that is, they're less likely to move to a new habitat. They're less likely to adapt. And they're not going to do well when the habitats change. Generalists, our friends the raccoons over there, if things aren't good, they just move. And they'll adapt just fine. And they really don't care what the conditions are. They'll do what they got to do. You can see them in a dumpster, looking like it doesn't even matter. Specialists more likely to become extinct. Generalists, probably not. When you talk about things like this specific Shenandoah salamander, it's endangered because it has a tiny range. And it's only on 3 specific mountains. That's not too good. The red-backed salamander, plenty of those, no big deal. So you can see how it doesn't work out. And this is called interspecific competition. And that is where 2 different species will compete for a resource. And there's a good chance that one will win. And the one that wins is going to be no problemo. And the one that loses could be on the threatened/endangered/extinct list. So the last FRQ to look at here, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service there proposed 2 actions to reduce the threats to endangered species. You can focus on regulating the surface water, pollutants and laws, or preserving land and having more intact ecosystems. This would be, again, an FRQ-style question where you'd have to justify why you think the plan you chose is better. So you pick it and you defend it. And if your defense is good, you get full credit. So last at home chapter, 9.9, done.